It's quite crazy how many FNAF fan games there are, but what's even crazier is how many fan games of fan games there are. And there are a lot of Joy of Creation fan games. Most Joy of Creation fan games are low quality, but I still think they're worth talking about. Let's start this off by looking at the first Joy of Creation fan game, the Joy of Creation Draw Edition, developed by J for Draw. It's basically just a 2D version of the Joy of Creation 2015 demo, which is an endless game where you just look around your office and shine your light at the animatronics whenever you see them. A lot of the sounds are different, with the FNAF 4 ambience being in the background and the phone calls have been completely removed. I've never really been a fan of the 2015 demo, but I do think this is a decent enough remake. And dare I say, this is actually quite scary. The sounds create an unnerving atmosphere, and the animatronics still look very scary in their drawn form. Interestingly, Nixon actually played this game and said that it was really good. The game does have an exploit though, where you can just hold the W and space key and you're invincible whilst doing this. The game was originally released on Adobe Flash Player, but as you all know, in 2020 that got discontinued. There is a reupload on Scratch by Chica Chicken 50. This version of the game has been tweaked a bit, but for the most part though, these are the same game. There was actually going to be a Joy of Creation Reborn Draw Edition, but this got cancelled. However though, there was a Joy of Creation Reborn 2D version by ClarkN123. This is basically the Joy of Creation Reborn but in the style of a maze. The game was only released as a demo which had Freddy and Bonnie. There's quite a few glitches in the game, like when you click on Bonnie in the main menu, he just isn't at the door. Also, sometimes when you get jump scared, the jump scare just straight up won't appear. To my knowledge, this is the first Joy of Creation Reborn fan game, and after this game was released, there would be quite a lot of Joy of Creation Reborn 2D versions. But this video isn't all about Joy of Creation 2D versions. A very common request that FNAF fangame developers get is for them to release their games on Android, although 99% of the time they never end up doing this. So a developer by the name of Rushan Plays decided to take matters into their own hand and made unofficial mobile ports of the Joy of Creation Reborn and Story Mode. Yes, you heard me, you can play the Joy of Creation Story Mode on your phone. However though, neither of these games are ever actually finished. Let's talk about Reborn first. This is a mobile port, so very low graphics are to be expected, but when you put that aside, is this actually good? No. No, it isn't. Bonnie and Freddy are pretty much unplayable. You can't collect any objects, you can't use your flashlight, you can't even sprint. So it's basically just a run away from the animatronic simulator. Sorry, I mean, walk away from the animatronic simulator. Then you have Foxy, who actually does work. And by that I mean you can actually pick up objects, and you can actually use your flashlight, and you can run away, and you have a timer. I'm not sure why Foxy was the only one that was programmed, but I'm not complaining considering how Foxy is my favourite game mode. It's still pretty damn bad though. One thing that I haven't talked about yet are the controls. They are very sensitive, and you want to do any kind of fast turns, you might end up walking into a wall. The sprint and flashlight buttons can also be quite unresponsive sometimes. These controls are especially problematic with Foxy, because when he runs at you, you've got to quickly turn around and shine your light at him. When this happens, you basically have to stop doing what you're doing, touch the flashlight button, and then turn around and shine a light at Foxy, but whilst doing this, you could easily get killed. Even with all these glaring issues though, Foxy is the only playable level in the game. As for Chica, well, she was never in the game. So yeah, Joy of Creation Reborn on mobile just has Foxy. Anyway, now on to Story Mode. The Joy of Creation Story Mode on mobile only has the bedroom and the living room. All of the cutscenes have been removed, but the phone calls are still in the game. The bedroom plays quite differently to the original. In the mobile version, you can't actually turn on the light. And I know you're probably thinking, well, how do you maintain your sanity? It's pretty simple. It doesn't exist. Bonnie is a lot easier and Chica is just a joke. And forget Golden Freddy, he's not even in it. You also can't click Freddy's nose or pop goes. Everyone's AI is just sporadic. They seem far more aggressive than they are in the original, and you can get attacked by multiple at the same time. This game has also got a lot of bugs, and in the living room, I encountered the notorious Death Alive jump scare glitch. If you're unfamiliar with this bug, basically what happens is when you get jump scared, you survive a jump scare, and sometimes this makes you invincible. And that is the case here. I'm not sure exactly how you trigger this, or if there is a way to trigger it, but if you end up getting it, then well done, you beat the bedroom. Now onto the living room, which is even more dysfunctional than the bedroom. A mistake that many of us have made when playing the living room is we pause one of the animatronics for about 10 seconds, then we just think, okay, that's how you do it. And then they both attack you at the same time, then you realise, oh, okay, maybe that's not it. Well, in the mobile port, that's literally what you gotta do. The animatronics never slow down, so if you pause one of them for 15 seconds, then they won't appear until after the other one. And sometimes the animatronics just won't move. You just look at your TV and they'll just be staying still. They'll usually start moving at some point though. Bonnie is also a giant arse in the living room. His movement pattern is very inconsistent and often attacks whilst you're dealing with Freddy or Foxy. I'm not even sure if Chica's even in the living room because I never encountered her. So these are the Joy of Creation mobile ports, and honestly, as terrible as these are, I still gotta give kudos to Rushan Plays for actually trying to make mobile ports of these games. But these are some complex games made by one of the most acclaimed FNAF fangame developers of all time. Even with the Fazbear Fanverse initiative, I really can't see the Joy of Creation story mode getting ported to mobile. In order for it to work, they'd have to lower the graphics and possibly even cut some stuff out. And honestly, if it comes to that, don't even bother. Now, I'm sure many of you probably want me to talk about Joy of Creation fangames that aren't remakes. But the thing is though, there's not really many. There's a reason why the Joy of Creation story mode is considered to be one of the best FNAF fangames of all time. Simply because there just isn't really that many like it. It's hard to make a game that's this good, so people don't even try. However though, there was one person who tried to make a Joy of Creation story mode fangame, and that person was OMG My Cat Making Games. The game is called After Those Nights, although on the main menu it says After That Nights. Like everything else we've talked about in this video, this was cancelled or was only released as a Night 1 demo. This game is obscure, and I mean so obscure that there might only be one video of this game, and I bet you'll never guess who made that video. The demo takes place in an office, which graphically looks pretty good, but the office itself is quite empty. There's also no ambience in the game unless you go to the balcony. Now onto the gameplay. At the start of the night, the game doesn't tell you what you're supposed to do whatsoever. No instructions, no phone call, just nothing. It's only when you die when the game actually tells you what to do, but the tip is randomized, so you might die to Foxy and then it tells you how to deal with Freddy. I spent about half an hour trying to figure out what you're supposed to do. I mean, sure, the Joy of Creation story mode is very trial and error based, but at least they give you some idea on what you're supposed to do when you start the night. There's 3 places where the animatronics can attack you, the 2 doors and the balcony. The animatronics are Freddy, Chica and Foxy. Bonnie is not in the game. Foxy will appear in the balcony and has 2 phases. When he's on phase 2, you have to go up to him and shine your light at him. Chica will appear at the door closest to the balcony. You'll hear a knocking sound and that's when you've got to shine the light at her. Then you have Freddy, who'll appear in the door furthest from the balcony. What you're supposed to do is stand next to the door and listen out for breathing. When you hear the breathing, you have to turn off the office light and then you gotta hide behind the wardrobe. A big problem with Freddy though is that I couldn't hear the breathing, and I had my volume on max. I could have sworn that the breathing just wasn't there. I mean, maybe it wasn't, maybe the game just glitched. Despite that though, I still beat the game, because this game has somewhat of an exploit. There is no benefit to having the light on, so you might as well just keep that off the whole time. And you can just hide behind the wardrobe until you have to deal with Foxy or Chica. This is a bit RNG based, but I was able to beat the game though. Now this is a Joy of Creation fangame, so I'm sure you're probably thinking, is this game actually scary? To be honest, not really. There isn't really anything scary about the setting, it's just someone's office. This could have been made more scary though if it had a chilling soundboard. But there barely even is any sounds in the game, and when there are sounds used, it's not very scary. Like the animatronic screech just sounds like a creaky door. This sound is also used for the jump scares as well. Now let's talk about the animatronic designs. Well, you don't really get a good look at them, so I can't really say much. But when you do see them, they do look quite good and they have the potential to be scary. They're like the withered animatronics, but even more withered and have red eyes. Now I'd like to tell you something quite crazy about this game. You know how I said that very few people have played this game? Yeah, well, one of those few people was none other than Nixon himself. He left a comment on the GameJolt page that read, Why would anyone even play this over the Joy of Creation story mode? I don't understand the point of this game. It's just embarrassing. Quite a few others have also criticised the game, saying that it's a Joy of Creation story mode knockoff. And it was confirmed that the game was going to have the bedroom and the living room as well. It's unknown as for why the game was cancelled, but I wouldn't be surprised if the mixed reception combined with Nixon not liking the game had something to do with it. I don't think there's any more Joy of Creation story mode fan games, but to be honest, we don't need any. Nothing will ever top the original Joy of Creation story mode. Except for maybe the Joy of Creation 2025. Now let's end this video by talking about a lost Joy of Creation fangame, The Ignited. There is perhaps only one video of this game, and this video is possibly the only proof of this game's existence. So thanks again to Ayutum for preserving footage for what is now a lost FNAF fangame. This was a Joy of Creation Reborn fangame that had 5 levels: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Impossible mode. Based on what the video shows, it seems that Freddy and Bonnie do the same thing, but Bonnie's probably harder. All you have to do is just run away from them. Chica and Foxy seem to act a bit different, but I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with them. And Impossible mode is where all 4 of the animatronics will be active. I don't think there's any objectives in this game. It seemed like all you had to do was just run away from the animatronics. As far as the maps go, I think the layout's different, but they all look the same to me. It's unknown when this game came out, but the video that Ayutum made was published on the 20th of June 2018, meaning that it was out by then. It's unknown who actually made the game as well. If by some miracle you happen to know any information at all on this game, then please let me know in the comments. Anyway, thank you for watching this video on Joy of Creation Fangames. If you have any ideas for any more videos you want me to... Oh shit, that's the sound.